The best and worst players from the 2023 Champions League final. Manchester City have finally done it. Their long quest to conquer Europe is over. They have won the UEFA Champions League. They emerged triumphant in Saturday's final against Inter, with Rodri's piercing strike 25 minutes from time enough to help them to continental glory. The Nerazzurri threw the kitchen sink at Man City in search of a late equalizer, but they couldn't quite find a way through. Here were the best and worst performers for both sides in Istanbul. Manchester City's best player: Ruben Dias, 9/10 honorable mentions, Ederson 8/10, Rodri 8/10. It's ironic that two of the men who helped contribute most to Man City's victory, Ederson and Rodri, were both poor for long stretches of the evening. They did, at least, come up with the most meaningful of contributions, but our pick for their standout player was brilliant from start to finish. Ruben Dias gave away the penalty that saw Man City eliminated from last season's Champions League at the hands of Real Madrid. But in Istanbul he put in the performance of a lifetime. The Portugal defender swept up loose balls. There were far too many of them, and was often the only reliable player standing between the citizens and self-inflicted oblivion. Pep Guardiola has begun to show a preference for defenders who love defending again this year, and there are few with a hunger like Dias in that regard. Manchester City's worst player: Manuel Akanji, 5/10 dishonorable mentions, Jack Grealish 5/10, Ilkay Gundogan 5/10. Next to Dias was Manuel Akanji, who spent a lot of the evening trying to gift Inter a route to goal. The Switzerland international was fine in the first half, but his concentration levels dropped to a nearly unforgivable extent after the break. His first lap saw him try and hurt a loose Bernardo Silva passed back to Ederson, but he didn't judge the weight of it properly, and Lautaro Martinez was able to intercept. On that occasion, Ederson came to spare his blushes. A minute after Man City broke the deadlock, Akanji allowed the ball to bounce in his own box, with Federico Di Marco heading against the crossbar and then teammate Romelu Lukaku. Akanji is now a European champion. I'm sure he'll be fine with some criticism. Inter's best player: Francesco Acerbi, 8/10 honorable mentions, Alessandro Bastoni 8/10, Matteo Darmian 7/10. A decade ago, Francesco Acerbi underwent treatment on testicular cancer. On Saturday night, he managed to pocket Erling Haaland. In a Champions League final, the wily veteran did not shy away from his duels. After one early sight of goal, Haaland was met with force and aggression, failing to find a way through himself again. Acerbi was assisted in his efforts by the youthful Alessandro Bastoni and experienced Matteo Darmian, but he was ultimately their leader into battle. Inter fell short in attack, but they did all they realistically could in defense. Inter's worst player: Edin Dzeko, 5/10 dishonorable mentions, Romelu Lukaku 5/10, Hakan Calhanoglu 5/10. This is a harsh category for the underdog on a stage as big as this, but boy did Edin Dzeko very much look like a 37-year-old. His evening started in clumsy fashion, frantically dribbling the ball out of play under no pressure whatsoever. But his exploits didn't exactly improve after that. While Lautaro Martinez was aggressive in his pressing, Dzeko looked physically spent from minute one and was replaced by the more energetic Romelu Lukaku soon after the second half started. Read more reaction to Man City 1-0. Inter in the Champions League final. Man City win 2023-24 Champions League. Man City 1-0 Inter. Player ratings as Rodri strike settles Champions League final. Twitter reacts to Man City's narrow Champions League final victory over Inter. Rodri bounces back from past heartache to seal Man City treble. Pep Guardiola claims Man City's Champions League triumph was written in the stars.